We are here with the Help Hope Heroes podcast.
Stephen Center, for me, they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself.
Recorded live at a homeless shelter.
I basically reinvented myself with the Stephen Center.
Our clients are the homeless, the addicted, those in poverty.
We fight the good fight.
Tear down some stigmas.
They taught me those life skills that I didn't have.
What does Help Hope Heroes mean to you?
If you come to the Stephen Center, you will be changed in a really good way.
Okay, welcome to the Help Hope Heroes podcast, recorded live at a homeless shelter here in South Omaha. My name is Michael Murphy. I'm the marketing director here at Stephen Center, and I don't even think excited covers it. We are very, very excited to have a special guest with us today, Tony Veland.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
We appreciate you being here more than you know. For those of you that don't know, I'm just going to do a quick rundown of Tony Veland. He is a two-time national champion with the Nebraska Cornhuskers in 94 and 95. One of my favorite experiences was watching those teams win those national titles. I took it way too seriously, I'm sure.
Well, I did too, so it's all good.
You're on the team. I felt like I was doing something. I had all these weird traditions that I would do because I felt like I was helping them win by doing them. You know, I was 8th grade at that time. 6th round draft picked in the 1996 NFL draft.
Correct.
Who were you drafted by?
Denver Broncos, baby.
Denver Broncos. And then in 1997, he won a Super Bowl ring with the Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos.
Yes. It was, I was very fortunate. I was very fortunate. I wasn't sure that I would ever get an opportunity to play in the NFL. Went through a couple of injuries in college, and somehow the ball bounced my way, and I picked that thing up and ran with it.
Yeah,
and ended up on a really, really good team with some really good players. A lot of people go through that scenario and never get a chance to play in a big game.
Yep.
So I may not have had a long career, but I can always say that I've got the hardware, and I'll be a part of history forever.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And John Elway was the quarterback?
Johnny, he was the man.
Yeah.
He still is the man.
Yeah. You tell him I said hi.
Yeah, I don't know if he remembers who I am. But, yeah, we'll do that.
And from there, you went to the Carolina Panthers.
Correct.
Now, I did see on Wikipedia, that's where I do my research, probably not too safe to do that, but you did have a couple interceptions in the NFL.
I did.
What was that like? What was that first interception like? I mean, you had plenty at Nebraska, but what was that like? An NFL interception, man.
It was kind of crazy because it happened slow. It happened really, really slow. I was playing against, this was when I was with Carolina, and I was playing against San Francisco.
Okay.
And I don't remember, I think that the quarterback was Detmer. Detmer threw a ball, and it was just a bad ball. It was, it was a duck, and it was just out of nowhere. And that was coming at me. It's like a movie. You see it coming, it's like, this is coming. Am I going to catch it? I'll look really bad if I miss this ball. But it comes, and I jump up, and I catch it. And it was kind of an awkward catch, too. So it was like, I'm going to miss it. No, I'm going to catch it. No, I'm going to catch it. So I kind of caught the tail end of it. Ended up, running it back, I don't know, probably about 30 yards or something like that. And got tackled by Jerry Rice.
Wow.
People. Yeah.
That's a claim to fame right there, I'm telling you.
But the interesting thing is that, so later in the game, I ended up causing a fumble, and the person I caused the fumble on was Jerry Rice.
No way.
Yeah. So it was a really good game that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
You paid him back for the tackle.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you got to get back. I'll remember that, Jerry Rice.
Yeah, and he was an idol. I've been watching, Rice for years.
Yeah, I had his poster on my wall.
Yeah, of course.
So did you have him sign the ball that you forced the fumble?
No, I didn't.
That,
but I did stand over him like I did something big time. You can't. You have to do that. Come on now.
That's funny. So Carolina Panthers first interception, then you came back to the Omaha area.
I did.
And you did some arena football coaching.
Correct.
With the Omaha Beef.
Correct. I coached with the Omaha Beef for roughly 7 to 8 years. My first stint in semi-pro football, and obviously being away from football, I still had to get my football fix.
Yeah.
And so that was a way for me to go back and still be around the game, get the excitement, and teach some of these guys who thought they still had a chance to make it to the next level, give them a little bit of knowledge and advice at the same time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
To be able to come back and share that experience.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Then it looks like you worked at some financial institutions around town, but as of recent, March 2018, you were named the Director of Community Engagement at the AIM Institute.
Correct. Worked in the financial services for almost 15 years. was brought abreast of an opportunity to go into management, learn some leadership skills, but more than anything, go to an area where I could really impact more community change than where I was at before.
Yeah.
And wasn't really necessarily looking to make a move. But when I got a chance to go and listen to kind of what they do at the AIM Institute, it just made sense. Now, it didn't make a sense from the standpoint I was in the finance industry.
Yeah.
So I knew absolutely nothing about technology.
Yeah.
Nothing other than how to work my cell phone. That was pretty much about it. But you know, we're around here because there's been such a shortage of tech workers, and that started back in the mid-90s. Unfortunately, it still exists today.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to create platforms to fight that.
Yeah.
You know, one of the ways that we do that is through our interface program, which allows people to be able to change careers in a very efficient manner, so to say.
So interface program.
Interface Web School.
Interface Web School.
Yeah. So it's a coding school.
Okay.
So let's say somebody has been in manufacturing or something like that, and they want to become a programmer or developer. They can take our Interface Web School. They can take a class that lasts 10 to 14 weeks, and once that class is done with, they'll have the certification and the skills to be able to place with one of our members.
And that's a big thing right now too. Even in the 4-year colleges, is job placement after the fact. You hear a lot of stories, and so when you're doing a 10 to 14 week certification, you're not going into mountains of debt.
Right.
To do so.
Exactly. And that's the big thing. And we know when it's all said and done, 2-year school, 4-year school might not be for everyone.
Yep.
And if you can accelerate your transition from wherever you're doing to that next step, that's going to be more efficient. It's going to be the best for both parties. And so we want to be able to provide those opportunities for them. And so we have that. And plus because we have our job board, which is CareerLink, which has been around for 26, 27 years.
Yep.
And we have relationships with thousands of companies in this particular market. Once we get these graduates, we have the relationships already solidified. So we know what opportunities are there, and we figure out ways to place them.
That's a great funnel.
Yeah.
It's a great model.
That's a good deal.
So people might be wondering right off the bat, what is Tony Veland doing at Stevens Center? We connected recently because AIM Institute does have the desire to be able to provide that same type of tech opportunity to those in poverty, those that may be recovering from addiction, and those that may have at one point in time been homeless. So this is a way to kind of funnel people that need these opportunities in.
Exactly. You never know what walk of life a person is in. And you got to be able to have, people who open doors and provide opportunities for you at every level. And that's really what we're trying to do with AIM. We have a lot of, corporate members and partners, but we also have a lot of nonprofits who are really, concerned about where people are at in their lives. And, walking through here and getting a chance to meet you and see what you guys do here at the Stevens Centers is just amazing. It's humbling, because none of you guys are really going to get rich at what you do, but at the same time, it's so fulfilling because you're really enriching people's lives and giving people second chances and giving them and hope and letting them know that they aren't out here by themselves. And so we want to partner with people like you because we want to get them back, into society and to be in, working members of society and really contributing, like they should be. And sometimes it just takes somebody to be able to open the door and establish a relationship and connect two pieces. And so that's what we're trying to do here.
That's just so cool to me that somebody that's been through a career like yours, still wanting to lift people up. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure you've seen a lot of that at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. As a member of the college football team, you guys probably did some charitable events or some volunteering. Mm-hmm. And at the NFL level, I'm sure you saw guys that were all about that. Yeah. Did that resonate with you, and is that carried forward, or?
Well, yeah. But I'll tell you honestly, it didn't start there. It started from me when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I lost my father when I was 16 years old, and my mother and father, struggled a little bit employment-wise for a while. So, there would be times where we'd have to go without. And there are times where I had to go next door to, ask for food or, ask for toiletries or something like that because we just didn't have.
Wow.
And as a kid, that's tough.
Yeah.
That is really tough. But also as a kid, when you don't know any better, you just figure, I'm going to ask, and, if they care about us, then they'll help. Yeah. And so I learned from an early stage that, people go through things in life. And there are other people on this earth that are here to help and to serve and to love and to care.
Yeah.
And so that just resonated with me all the way up through school. So when I got through to Lincoln, I mean, it was kind of the same team atmosphere.
Absolutely.
And actually playing for a guy like Coach Osborne, he's all about integrity. He's all about character. He's all about team. He's all about doing for your brother and trying to take care of those people who are important to you. And which is one of the reasons why so many people, are ingratiated to him, because they understand that, yeah, he wants to win football games, but he wants to build men at the same time.
Absolutely.
And so this whole team concept of taking care of your own and helping your fellow man, that's been ingrained ever since, those days, and it'll never leave me.
Wow. So you go from 16 into that college atmosphere, just kind of kept building up
Yeah.
inside of you. And now
Yeah.
here you are in a position to be able to do it, and you're doing it. I mean, a lot of people get that opportunity and they don't take it. So hats off to you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I didn't know that about your father at such a young age. I'm sorry to hear that. That's got to be rough.
Life.
Yeah,
it's life. He was in my life, obviously not as long as I would like him to be,
Yeah.
but I got some really good characteristics from him, and I remember only the good, and that good still resonates today.
It's all about making them proud, no matter where they're
That's
at.
right.
I mean, I lost my father 4 years ago, and that's what I'm trying to do
sorry,
today.
yeah.
So I totally relate to that. Now, you were born here in Omaha. Where were you?
Here in
born?
Omaha. Here in Omaha. Went to Omaha Benson. My mother still lives in the same house we grew up in. I
Cool.
still frequent the neighborhood, quite a bit. So this is, I'm not going anywhere, man.
Yeah.
This is
Omaha's home.
Yeah, Omaha's home.
That's
Although if we keep having these Februarys like we just had, I don't know.
I wish it was February today, just because the air conditioning broke in our studio.
Oh, no,
and it's the first hot day of the year, but that's Murphy's Law. So you came in for a podcast interview with
Right.
Murphy, you get what you get.
Right.
Now, do you recall, I'm sure you do, the first time you played football or picked up any sport?
The first time I played organized football, I was in the 7th grade.
Okay.
I was going to Monroe Middle School, and I played for the neighborhood team that was called the Adams Raiders.
Okay.
And at that particular time, I didn't know where I fit in, so to say. I knew I was an okay athlete, but I was playing wide receiver, and we had some decent athletes on the team, and I remember scoring a couple touchdowns that year, but not necessarily knowing, if I really had it, so to say. But that was my first time. It wasn't, I was 4 or 5 or anything like that. It was a little later in life. I had my mother, worked, and my father wasn't around quite as much afterwards, because he was doing his own work as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had to watch my brother and sister, so I couldn't go, do the other football leagues and this and that. So I started a little bit late. But, I mean, heck, we played football around the hood all the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just pretty much the same thing without the pads.
Yeah, slant pattern to the light post.
That's right. That's right. And it's funny you say that, because I actually did that.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew that I was all in football.
Yeah.
We were I want to say I was probably 11, 12 years old. Quarterback sets up the play, and I give him this look like, I got him, throw me the ball.
Yeah.
And so we take off, and I do this slant pattern, and I'm running, and he throws the ball, and it's a pretty ball, and it's a spiral, and it's going. And next thing I know, I hear ting. And about 30 seconds later, I'm up on the ground, I'm looking up, and everybody's looking down at me like, man, are you all right? And I look down, and I still got the ball in my hand. I'm like, touchdown, sucker. So I knew I was it after that. So, yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Probably your first concussion.
Probably, but definitely not the last, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so great. I remember we would always say, take a left at the Buick or something.
Yeah, right.
Playing street ball. And only one of us ended up being kind of decent. But, I remember we had the Ralston Raiders, because I'm a Ralston boy, and I was maybe 5th or 6th grade, and my father and I went to watch like a practice or something, and we go to the coach, and my dad says, my son's kind of interested in football. He kind of looks, he should play soccer. So I played soccer.
Hey, he knows. That's all right.
Hey, he probably saved my life.
Yeah.
I was a very
Soccer's
very
a good
small,
sport,
scrawny
though.
kid.
Soccer's a good sport.
Great sport.
I mean, I don't know back then, but soccer's a great sport now.
Yeah, we got a pro team coming soon.
We do.
This could be
We
fun
do.
out at
I
Warner
saw
Park.
that, and and I have a daughter that has played soccer since she was 5. So now I'm actually somewhat interested in it now. So it'll be interesting to see if the city supports it or not.
So is she like high school, college level?
She's in college. She's in Illinois right now, going into her last year.
And playing ball?
Playing soccer, majoring in advertising, doing very well.
How exciting is that for a father?
Proud
right?
dad. Proud dad.
man.
Yeah, it's big time.
That is big time.
Yeah.
My son scored his first goal last weekend.
Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
11.
That is so awesome.
I was at a church speaking on our behalf of Stevens Center, so I missed it. But
that's okay. You were doing good.
you know
work.
what? And I coached the
doing good
team.
work.
I coached the team, and we had games this weekend. And this kid that came to us that was fairly unathletic when I first met him in the fall scored his first goal on Sunday. You know, as you coach, they kind of all become somewhat your kids in a way, and you got to see that, and so that proud moment.
Yeah, big time.
That can be addicting, really, is that coaching experience.
It definitely can, because a lot of times those coaches become a heck of a lot more than just a coach. You know, a counselor or a father figure. You know, all the and it means a lot. You know, I sometimes I regret stepping away from coaching somewhat, but there's also the other side of it. You know, it's very time intensive. It's
emotionally investing too.
Yeah, that's stressful.
Yeah.
It is extremely stressful. I think my last year I had to up my blood pressure medicine. It was just a little crazy, but love being around the kids and love being able to provide opportunities for them. I mean, my last stint coaching was with Northwest, and so the last 2 years we didn't win a ton of games, but what we did do is get a number of individuals a chance to play college ball.
That's great.
So it was a good deal.
It's got to feel good.
Yeah, big time.
So we kind of already breezed over some of those questions just in general conversations. I would like to know, over the years through football, all these life lessons you've learned through all those experiences, how do you kind of apply that to day-to-day activity at AIM Institute, or how you carry yourself, or how you think about this mission that you guys have in front of you?
That's an interesting question. I would say, more kind of along what I was talking about, is just I think of this whole community as my team.
Nice.
And I want to be able to play my part, play my role to make the team better. And sometimes that means you sacrificing the things that you want to do to help somebody else, get a little bit further. And my role here at AIM is kind of part of that.
Yeah.
You know, there are a number of kids who are underserved, don't have representation, don't get the opportunities, and there's still a huge socioeconomic divide between the have and the have-nots. And I think one of the big reasons for that is because they don't see the opportunities when they're young. So they don't see those opportunities, and then they grow up and they have this, extremely low ceiling that they place upon themselves because they haven't seen good opportunities, and they haven't had people really, feed into their life and sow into their life. And so I want to be one of those individuals that show them there's something different. And I want to be able to do it not just the sports arena, because I know everybody's not athletic. Everybody's not going to get the same opportunities that was afforded me. And even though I got them, I still got lucky to make it as far as I did. Yep. So I want to give them something that's a little bit more realistic. Yep. And I want to give them something that they can see on a more consistent basis so that they can actually believe that it can happen to them. And that's what we're trying to do at AIM.
And now at AIM, I got to come down for a tour before you guys came over for a tour, and I saw this new great room where you have 3D printers and video equipment and video editing for kids. Yeah. What can you talk to me about that?
That's our brain exchange. That is our brain exchange. When I talked about us being able to fight this tech disparity, one of the ways you have to do that is to be able to grow that population organically within your own population base. And one of the ways we do that is by exposing kids to free tech programs. And so we start as early as age 7, going all the way up to age 17. And we'll bring some kids. We partner right now with Wakanda and Liberty.
Great.
And we'll bring some of those students down to the brain exchange, and we'll do a lot of different programs. We'll do robotics, drone tech, 3D game design, web design, 3D printing.
Wow.
All these crazy, great things that, none of us had when we were younger.
Close.
None of us had
a library.
Exactly. Exactly. Dewey Decimal System. Yes. That whole thing. But it's just amazing the resources that are out there. And we want these kids to be able to take the talent and use it in a way that's going to be able to further their career, as opposed to, just reading messages on an iPhone or just playing one game on an iPad or something like that.
Yeah.
There's this tech space touches everything. It touches everything. So if we can push more of these kids into this tech space, we're killing two birds with one stone. We're giving these kids the opportunities to, remove that limiting ceiling that they have, giving them opportunities to truly be successful. But then we're also increasing that talent pool that a lot of these companies are looking for. And so if we just have to make sure that they're patient enough to wait for it.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's all said and done. But I really enjoy it. I think the first time that I went there, just to kind of see the kids playing this game, just to kind of see, you know, the light, you know, on their face. I mean, it's really just amazing. And it's not even just the tech-specific skills that they're learning. It's also the characteristics that they're learning, the belief in themselves, you know, the confidence, you know, some of these things that they can take. If they decide they don't want to go into a tech world, they're still going to be successful in some other things because of these other things that we're teaching them.
And they're getting social skills too, because they're amongst other peers. Yeah.
Yes. And that's probably one of the most, you know, underutilized terms that we kind of talk about here, to be honest, because that's huge. You know, everybody's on social media, you know, they're not talking anymore. And people need social skills. I don't care what industry you go into. You got to be able to talk. And a lot of times when I talk to kids, I'm like, listen, you need to be able to network, you need to talk and open your mouth. And that starts at that age. And so we give them a great platform to learn from at all aspects of, you know, in essence, tech learning, workforce development, you know, increasing their social skills, all those things that can allow them to be successful as they get older.
I like that because you know, we were talking about like little league soccer or little league football. This is kind of that same. It's the same thing.
Same premise.
You're getting them because now when that guy's going out and playing football, he's starting to dream about football. Now you get them into the tech, they're dreaming about being in tech.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. Proud of what you guys do down there, and proud to know you guys and have this potential for partnership. We're looking for ways to funnel our clients into these tech programs. Just such a great opportunity. Yeah, just so proud of what you guys are doing down there. One more question, kind of about Tony, and then we'll talk a little bit about some other nonprofit stuff. But who was your greatest mentor?
Oh, that's tough. That's probably going to be two people. Number one, my father, and number two, Tom Osborne.
Yeah.
You know, my father, I lost him when I was 16 years old, you know, very early in life. And my dad he was just a really good person. Yeah. You know, he didn't have his father in his life a whole heck of a lot. And so he was one of these kids that had to grow up faster than he should have. He had 8, 9 siblings that basically he had to be the dad for. Yeah. You know, and that was tough. But you know, he took the job in stride and always did what was needed to make sure that, you know, my grandmother was taken care of and that the family was taken care of and those type of things. And we never really went without. You know, everybody has, you know, their issues and their demons and this and that. But what I remember from my dad is that he was just a truly good person. And he got along with about everybody. You know, it's amazing. I'll run into people here and there, and they'll, you know, kind of say something about my dad. You know, your dad was a cool dude. He was just, you know, and that resonates with me because I obviously a lot of people know me for athletics. Yeah. But when I focus on my kids, I don't focus on the athletic portion of it. I'm like, if you're athletic, you know, that's great. But what was important to me was that you be a good person. You know, be a good person, because when you're a good person, people will help you if you are going through tough stuff. And that's what I learned from my father. Yeah. You know, and so he was the number one. And then after that, I mean, it's easy. Coach Osborne, you know, Coach Osborne was one of those people that he walks into a room and you don't even know him, and he just has a presence. Yeah. He just has a presence. I mean, from the first sentence, you're just like, I don't know why, but I can believe this guy.
And it's a calm presence, right? Calm, at least that's what I see on TV.
Yeah, yeah. And what you see is what you get. Yeah. I mean, it really is that way. He's just this figure who, you know, this aura that comes out. It just says, you know, I got you. You know, I'll take care of you. And you know, playing football was amazing for him. It probably was really the best decision that I made to go there, because I don't think I could have played for a better coaching staff. I don't think I could have played for a better individual. We still have a really good relationship to this day. And if you think about it, if you just think about how many people do you know who has this type of respect, and it's not simply because he's won football games. Correct. You know, he's won a bunch of football games.
It's the style.
It's the style, it's the manner, it's the integrity, it's the character, it's what he stands for. Yeah. And that's what I want when it's all said and done.
That's great. So I don't have any more AIM Institute related questions written down. So if there's anything you would like to plug or say to the community about AIM Institute, like what is the opportunity for a child to get involved at Brain Exchange, or, you know, what are some different things that they could do to find out more about AIM Institute?
Well, number one, they can go on our website, aiminstitute.org, and it has all of our programs and all of the services that we offer. So if they want to learn about that, they can definitely do that. For kids who are looking to get into tech and they don't have a way to do that right now. We actually offer free classes on Saturdays. So
Nice.
they can come down, and they'd have to check the website. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly what times they are, but they can come down there, can get the free tech programming, the robotics, and all those type of things. Because again, we want this to be, we want it to be open for everyone.
Yeah.
So that's one of the big things we do for individuals who may be displaced or maybe thinking about a career change. Interface will be a great place to explore. There's not many places where you can get a great certification and be job ready, within 6 months to 8 months, to be able to go into an organization or a corporation and start, somewhere around $50,000 a year. That's you don't see that often.
No, you don't.
And that's not necessarily after going through a 2-year school or a 4-year school or anything like. And again, we're not saying there's nothing wrong with those
Absolutely.
options, but if you want to be able to do it a little bit quicker, this is a way to do that because you can work during the day and you can take your classes at night.
Fantastic.
Okay, so
Again, that's aiminstitute.org.
aiminstitute.org.
And you'd look into Brain Exchange on Saturdays, those free
Brain Exchange,
Saturdays.
yes.
And then you'd look into the interface school for the adults wanting to advance their career and get back into tech.
Exactly.
Very cool.
And then the last thing I'll probably say is for those organizations out there who know us only as CareerLink, just to kind of understand that we are much more than just CareerLink. CareerLink is a job board, and that's really the connecting piece, but that's the last piece. We're really about turning the individuals into that talent that some of these corporations need. So when they're coming along board with us, they're not just taking care of business initiatives; they're actually growing community as well.
Great.
And you're actually preparing yourselves for a better future. And so hopefully we can get more people on board with what we're doing, and we can kind of shore up this economy.
And then it makes your visit to CareerLink all the more better, right?
Exactly.
You're going to be qualified for those jobs.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's great. So now we're switching back to Stevens Center.
Okay.
I've been all over the place today,
All
but
right.
you've kept pace. That concussion didn't do you too wrong there when you were 11 or whatever age that was. I feel bad for the light pole. Actually, you probably put a big dent in that thing.
No, he won that one.
So you've had a tour of Stevens Center.
Yes.
You got to meet some of the staff. What do you think of the work we're doing here at Stevens Center?
It's amazing. It's very enlightening. I didn't know that this place existed. I didn't know, that you guys try to get people work. You try to get people educated. I mean, you do so much more than, and this is obviously probably for anyone who is not actually in this arena. Because when I think homeless shelter, I think, okay, you provide housing, and that's pretty much about it.
Yeah.
But you guys do so much more, and it was really eye opening. And really wanted me to figure out a way to work with you guys even more, because there's so many individuals out there with need, and whether they got into a bad situation on their own accord or not, it really doesn't make a difference. We still need to be trying to help them and get them in a better situation, and you guys are doing that on a daily basis. So I definitely applaud what you guys do.
Thank you for that on behalf of the people that really do all the hard work. Just because I'm here as the marketing director, I get to witness the hard work, witness the great stories, and go tell the community about it. The hard work takes place in the shelter. The hard work takes in the addiction treatment program, our HERO program, with the counselors on a day-to-day basis, helping people fight these demons. We all applaud that, and we're so thankful that you took the time to come down and that you feel that way and that you're willing to share that with people. Something resonated with me earlier in our conversation is you were talking about kids and they don't have that ability to dream. And something that's been eye-opening for me personally, I've been here for about 2 years now, and about week 1 or week 2, my boss, Mike Whaling, our executive director, he was talking about food insecurity. And growing up, the way I grew up, I didn't even understand that was a thing. And that's a very real thing. So a child that doesn't know where their next meal is coming from, they're not dreaming.
Right.
They're not focused on homework. They can't behave for the teacher because they're literally thinking about what am I going to do to get and my siblings.
Right.
So that oldest, that father figure, things that we talked about in the little bit earlier in the conversation.
They don't have time to dream.
That's eye-opening.
Yeah.
And so we are doing work on that. And so if you know anybody that needs help, Stevens Center might not actually be the appropriate place for them to come, but we have the resources and can point them to the missions and the food pantries. And that's what the great thing about Omaha is. There's just a huge amount of resources for people in need.
Right.
And even though there's that huge amount of resources, there's still a problem, and the problem keeps growing. Yeah. So that's what we're here for. And then to think that we could take it from that to a brain exchange to interface school. Just so neat to be a part of that. And like you said, you look at the community as your team. I love that. I'm going to start using that. I'll credit you. But I look at it as a community as my team. I mean, there should be a politician out there saying it's beautiful. That's what we should all feel like. And when people feel like that and you find like-minded people, you're like, okay, this is what life is about.
Well, yeah, and then
this is fulfilling.
And changes happen.
Correct.
Changes happen.
And you get to see it.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I truly feel that we were all put on this earth to serve each other.
Yeah.
You know, none of us were put here to make a bunch of money and just hoard it to ourselves or gain some great talent or great knowledge and just keep it to yourself. That helps nobody.
Yep.
You know, we're all here, and I know that I've seen a number of people where, you know, they get on a hard time and, you know, they want to point fingers, you know, at God and blah blah blah. And like here's the deal: you've got people around you, you've got people resources. Use them.
Yep.
Use them. You know, there's plenty of people that. All you gotta do is ask for help.
Yep.
You know, they'll be willing to help, and that's one thing that I love about this city, and about being here. One of the reasons why I don't want to leave is because we're really philanthropic. We care about what's going on here. You know, I'm not saying we do it right all the time.
Yeah.
You know, but people are always willing to give because they care about the little man. They care about the person who's going through those tough times, and they're willing to, you know, sacrifice, you know, some of their, you know, whatever it is,
talent,
money, resources,
whatever it is,
you know, to make sure that people are in a better place. So that means a heck of a lot to me.
So my favorite Tony Veland story used to be about the 94-95 national championship teams, but you came down here on a tour, and so now I have a new favorite Tony Veland story. I'm not going to make you share it. You're too humble. You didn't even want me to, but I'm going to share it anyways because this is recorded live and you can't leave now. Right. So we were on this tour. We took Tony around, and at the beginning of the tour, one of our clients had been battling terminal cancer, terminal illness, and just so happened that at the beginning of the tour, he had come back from the hospital for the first time. I personally hadn't seen him for a couple months, and somebody I've known for a couple of years. You know, he was not looking so hot. He's in a wheelchair, and I approached him just to say hello. I said, Tony, one sec. I said, finally I get to meet Tony, and I'm going to leave him over here so I can go say hi to this guy. And immediately the guy perks up. He says, is that Tony Veland?
That he did.
I said, you bet it is.
that he did.
You bet he is. Yeah. So I waved Tony over. Tony took the time to meet him and his sister, and on the spot, his sister. It wasn't even the guy. The guy was too humble. You know, he didn't want to ask for it. His sister said, "Can you get him an autograph?" Right. Tony says right away. Right. Okay. So you think that's the end of the story? It's not. So we go, hey, let us finish the tour. You can get him comfortable in his apartment because he's actually come back for hospice. Right. Get him comfortable in his apartment. We'll pop up and we'll get that autograph. We take the tour. We tell Tony about the mission. He gets to meet, St. Maggie down in the shelter. She's and all of the employees, and got to see some of the cool, great work that we're doing. You got to meet Chef Robert, who whips up our meals. Episode 1, if you want to go back and watch.
Super cool guy.
He is, isn't he? And we got to go golfing, all three of us someday.
We can do that.
He's getting good.
Is he?
He started like 2 years ago.
Okay.
So anyways, that's sidetrack. So here we finish the tour. We say our goodbyes. Think nothing of it. I'm sitting back here in the studio just like, man, I just met Tony Veland. A down-to-earth, cool guy. And all of a sudden, a knock on the door. Yeah. Like, what? One of my colleagues just opened the door. There's Tony. He had driven away maybe 10, 15 minutes, realized he forgot the autograph, turned around, signed a Steven Center shirt, included the 94, 95, 90 champs and Super Bowl champs Broncos on it. Right. And we went and delivered the shirt to the man who was on his deathbed.
Well, I had to. I had to. I'm always very gracious for the support that we received over the years. Mm-hmm. There's so many fans who, truly bleed Nebraska red. Mm-hmm. And, they'll come hell or high water, to those games to support us, to watch us, fight some other teams. But I mean, he was fighting a real fight. The real fight. He'd been fighting a real fight.
And that's what you wrote on the autograph was, I love your fight.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got to support those because they're fighting something difficult every single day. He's fighting for his life, every single day. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that. I was playing the game back in the day, and I might have been learning life lessons, but I wasn't fighting for my life back then. He was fighting for his life. And so when you see that, and he still had hope on his face and was happy and elated when he saw me. I mean, from the face, from the look on his face, it was kind of hard to tell if he's really even kind of going through anything. He was just like taking it with stride. And I really couldn't imagine being in that situation. I don't know if I'd have the type of strength that he was displaying, so I had to come back and let him know that I appreciated that.
So he looked at us when we gave him the autograph. He says, "This is the last thing I'm going to get to give my brother," because his brother is a huge Denver Broncos fan, huge Tony Veland fan.
That's awesome, man.
Such a cool story, man.
That's awesome.
So that's my favorite Tony Veland story. I'll tell it to the world, anybody that will listen. We talked about your resume. We can add to it. All-around good guy, right?
Try.
And so now the final question of our podcast.
Yes.
Every episode that we do, and it doesn't have to relate to Stevens Center, doesn't have to relate to AIM Institute. I just want you to relate this to you, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
What does Help Hope Heroes mean to you?
Help Hope Heroes. To me, it describes just kind of a philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Around here, in this conversation, we've talked a lot about individuals needing help, individuals, not having hope, not being able to dream, not being able to realize what they want to, because they can't get past, some limiting belief, or they're focused so much on their basic necessities that they can't, get past that dream. And there's a lot of individuals who can help that situation, who can provide that hope.
Yep.
And I want to be that person. And I would love to, I mentor right now because I want to be able to provide an opportunity for a kid who maybe doesn't have that opportunity right now.
Yep.
And I don't know if I would necessarily say that I want to be somebody's hero. So I guess maybe, I will tell you I've always been a big cartoon freak because I love people coming in saving the day type of situation. But that has always truly resonated with me. Somebody seeing an issue, seeing a problem, coming down to help.
Yep.
Not necessarily save the day, but to help.
Yep.
And when I look at the word hero, a lot of times you'll think about superheroes, superpowers, and that type of thing. But in my opinion, that superpower is just how much you care.
There it is.
The commitment that you have.
That's good.
To actually help somebody. So
Well put.
that's what that means to me.
Well put. All right, Tony. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, good. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being on the Help Hope Heroes podcast. Thank you for all you're doing in the community. Thank you for keeping us entertained as Husker fans.
No problem. Keep doing what you do, man. You're doing some amazing work.
We will. That's it.
All right.
Thank you. Here with the Help Hope Heroes podcast.
Stevens Center, for me, they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself.
Recorded live at a homeless shelter.
I basically reinvented myself with the Stevens Center.
Our clients are the homeless, the addicted, those in poverty.
We fight the good fight.
Tear down some stigmas.
They taught me those life skills that I didn't have.
What does Help Hope Heroes mean to you?
If you come to the Stevens Center, you will be changed in a really good way.